Left abandoned in the freezing cold, a pit bull lays her fragile body over her two newborn puppies, shielding them from the relentless winter wind. Her breath is shallow, her strength nearly gone, but her resolve is unwavering. She refuses to let the cold claim the only thing she has left in the world, her babies. As the snow falls heavier and hope seems out of reach, a miracle is about to unfold that will redefine courage, resilience, and the bond between a mother and her pups. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. Stories like this remind us of the power of compassion and courage. Don't miss the next one. The wind bit fiercely as it roared through the empty streets, carrying with it the cruel chill of a winter storm. Snow swirled in every direction, blanketing the ground in a layer of icy desolation. Amidst the storm, a lone pit bull trudged forward, her paws raw and bleeding from the unrelenting cold. Her body was frail, her once muscular frame now reduced to skin and bones. Yet she moved with determination, for the weight of two tiny lives pressed against her underbelly. Her newborn puppies clung to her for warmth, their small bodies trembling against the freezing air. Her name was Bella, a name that had once been called with love, but now was a distant echo of a life that seemed like a dream. She had been left behind weeks ago, discarded by her owner when the responsibility of her pregnancy became too much. Bella had spent her days scavenging for scraps, trying to prepare for her puppy's arrival, but the streets had offered her nothing but hunger and loneliness. Now, as she wandered through the storm, her body screamed for rest. Every step was agony, her paw pads cracked and bleeding. She spotted an alleyway ahead and limped toward it, her legs barely holding her weight. The walls provided some shelter from the howling wind, but the ground was just as cold, the snow piling up even in the narrow space. Bella collapsed onto the frozen pavement, curling her body protectively around her puppies. The two little ones whimpered, their tiny breaths fogging the air. Bella licked each of them gently, her rough tongue a meager attempt to soothe them. She had no food, no strength left, but her instinct to protect them burned brighter than ever. She pressed her body closer to theirs, trying to shield them from the unforgiving cold. The snow continued to fall, covering her back in a thin layer of white. Bella didn't care. She would give everything she had to keep her babies alive. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes. It was impossible to tell. The world was silent except for the occasional gust of wind and the faint cries of her pups. Bella's breaths grew shallow, each one a struggle. Her eyes, once sharp and alert, now blinked slowly, fighting the exhaustion that threatened to consume her. She couldn't remember the last time she had eaten. Every ounce of her energy had been spent on finding a place to keep her puppies safe. And now, as the snow thickened, hope began to slip away. Her mind drifted back to a time when her world was different. She remembered lying on a warm rug by the fireplace, her belly full, her tail wagging as her owner scratched behind her ears. That life felt so far away now, like it had happened to another dog. The warmth, the love. It was a memory that felt cruel in its contrast to her current reality. She had given her all to be loyal, to love unconditionally, and yet she had been cast aside. Bella's head drooped lower, her energy nearly gone. Her puppies whimpered again, their cries pulling her back from the brink of unconsciousness. She nuzzled them one more time, whispering a silent promise. "I'll protect you, no matter what." But even as she made the vow, she wondered if she could keep it. Her body was failing, the cold seeping into her bones. This alley, she feared, would be their final resting place. Just as her eyelids began to close, a faint noise cut through the storm. It was distant, almost drowned out by the wind, but it was there, the sound of footsteps crunching in the snow. Bella's ears perked weakly, and she lifted her head as much as she could. A figure appeared at the mouth of the alley, bundled in a thick coat and scarf, their flashlight cutting through the darkness. "Oh my God," the figure said, their voice trembling, not from the cold, but from shock. They moved closer, their footsteps quickening as the light fell on Bella and her puppies. "Hang on, girl," they whispered, kneeling beside her. "I've got you." Bella blinked slowly, her body too weak to react. The person removed their coat and draped it over her shivering form. Strong hands gently scooped up her puppies, wrapping them in a warm blanket. Bella felt herself being lifted, the stranger's arms cradling her carefully. "You're safe now," they said, their voice soft but full of determination. "I won't let anything happen to you or your babies." As Bella was carried out of the alley, the warmth of the stranger's embrace gave her a flicker of hope. For the first time in days, the cold began to fade, replaced by the promise of a second chance. The warmth of the stranger's arms was unlike anything Bella had felt in weeks. Her body, numb from the cold, began to thaw as she nestled closer. The puppies, wrapped tightly in a thick blanket, let out faint whimpers, their tiny voices breaking the silence of the snowy night. Bella lifted her head weakly, her eyes locking onto the face of the person carrying her. The stranger's expression was one of determination, mixed with a tinge of heartbreak. "Hang in there, girl," the stranger whispered. "You're going to be okay. I promise." They moved quickly, their boots crunching through the snow as they headed toward a beat-up truck parked at the end of the alley. Bella's vision blurred, exhaustion threatening to pull her under, but the warmth of the truck's cab and the soft hum of the engine were enough to keep her awake. The stranger placed Bella gently on the passenger seat, carefully arranging the blanket-wrapped puppies beside her. The stranger, a man named Adam, turned the heat up as high as it would go and pulled out his phone. "Come on, Sarah, pick up," he muttered, the urgency clear in his voice. After a few rings, a woman answered. "Adam, it's late. What's wrong?" she asked. "I found a dog and her puppies," Adam said, his voice tight. "They're in bad shape, Sarah. I'm bringing them to your clinic now." Okay. I'll meet you there," Sarah replied. "Just keep them warm." Adam hung up and glanced at Bella. Her eyes were half closed, her breathing shallow, but she was still holding on. He reached out, running a hand gently over her frost-bitten fur. "You're a tough one, aren't you?" he said softly. "We'll get you through this." The drive to the veterinary clinic felt like an eternity. Bella's mind swam with flashes of her past, the warmth of a home, the sting of rejection, and the cold, endless nights she had endured to keep her puppies alive. She didn't understand where she was being taken or why this human was helping her, but a small part of her began to believe that maybe, just maybe, she had been rescued. The truck came to a stop outside a small building with a glowing sign that read, "Heartland Veterinary Clinic." Adam jumped out and opened the passenger door, carefully lifting Bella and her puppies into his arms. Sarah, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a hurried gait, was waiting at the entrance, already in her scrubs. "Oh, Adam," she breathed, her voice catching at the sight of Bella. "She's in rough shape. Let's get her inside." The clinic was warm, a stark contrast to the icy streets Bella had left behind. Sarah led Adam to an exam room, where she quickly began assessing Bella's condition. "She's severely malnourished," Sarah said, her tone clinical but compassionate. "Her paws are frostbitten, and she's dehydrated. The puppies, they're lucky to be alive." "They're fighters," Adam said, standing by Bella's side. He watched as Sarah administered fluids and carefully cleaned Bella's wounds. Bella flinched at first, but the touch was gentle, almost comforting. Her puppies, still bundled in the blanket, let out soft cries as Sarah examined them one by one. "They're cold, but otherwise healthy," Sarah said with a small smile. "It's a miracle she kept them alive in this weather." Adam exhaled, relief washing over him. "She's incredible," he said, glancing at Bella. "I don't know how she did it." Sarah nodded. "Mothers will do anything for their young, but now she needs someone to fight for her." Hours passed as Sarah and Adam worked to stabilize Bella and her puppies. By the time the sun began to rise, Bella was resting on a soft blanket in a clean kennel. The puppies, their bellies full for the first time in days, were curled up beside her. Bella opened her eyes briefly, meeting Adam's gaze through the glass. For the first time, her eyes held something other than fear. They held gratitude. "You're safe now," Adam whispered, his hand resting against the glass. "No more cold, no more hunger, just rest." Bella closed her eyes again, her body finally relaxing. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, she wasn't fighting to survive. She was warm, her puppies were safe, and the faintest flicker of hope began to grow within her. The first few days at the clinic were a blur for Bella. Her body, still weak from weeks of starvation and cold, was slowly beginning to recover under Sarah's careful watch. The warmth of the kennel and the steady supply of food gave her a strength she hadn't felt in what seemed like forever. Her puppies, now growing stronger with each passing day, clung to her for comfort and milk. Their tiny squeaks and wobbly movements were the only things that kept her spirits lifted. Adam visited every day. He brought blankets, toys, and even a soft chew bone for Bella. She was cautious at first, unsure of this man who had taken her from the streets, but his gentle voice and the way he spoke to her, like she was a creature deserving of love, began to chip away at her fear. "She's making progress," Sarah told Adam one afternoon as they stood outside Bella's kennel, "but she's still skittish. It's going to take time for her to trust again." Adam crouched down, his hand resting on the glass. "She's been through so much," he said softly. "I just want her to know she's safe now." Inside the kennel, Bella's eyes flickered toward Adam. There was something in his voice, a kindness she had forgotten humans could possess. She watched as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a treat, holding it just inside the kennel door. "Hey, girl," Adam said gently. "I brought you something. No rush. Whenever you're ready." Bella hesitated, her body tensing as she considered whether to approach. Her instincts, honed by weeks of survival, told her to stay back. But something about Adam's presence felt different. Slowly, cautiously, she crept forward, her nose twitching as she sniffed the treat. Her gaze flicked up to meet his, and for a moment the world seemed to pause. Then, with a quick motion, she took the treat from his hand and retreated to her puppies. Adam's smile widened. "That's a good girl," he said, his voice warm. "You're so brave." From that moment, a fragile bond began to form. Adam spent hours sitting by her kennel, reading aloud or simply talking to her in a soothing tone. Bella started to relax in his presence, her tail giving the faintest of wags whenever he entered the room. Sarah watched the transformation with quiet amazement. "She's starting to trust you," Sarah said one evening as Adam prepared to leave. "That's no small feat, considering what she's been through." "I don't think she's ever had someone fight for her," Adam replied, glancing back at Bella. "But I'm not going anywhere." As Bella grew stronger, Sarah began preparing for the next step in her recovery, finding her a home. But the idea of letting Bella go filled Adam with a strange sense of unease. He had seen her at her lowest, watched her fight to protect her puppies, and now he couldn't imagine his life without her. "You're thinking about keeping her, aren't you?" Sarah asked one evening, her knowing smile catching Adam off guard. Adam hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck. "I guess I am," he admitted. "I just feel like she belongs with me." "Then tell her that," Sarah said. "But remember, adopting her means a lifetime commitment. Are you ready for that?" Adam nodded. "I think I've been ready since the moment I found her." Inside her kennel, Bella rested her head on her paws, watching Adam as he left for the night. For the first time in her life, she felt like she mattered. And though she didn't fully understand the world of humans, she was beginning to believe that maybe, just maybe, she had found her place in it. The day had finally arrived. Bella's strength had returned, her fur had regained its shine, and her puppies were growing rapidly into curious little bundles of energy. Adam had been a constant presence during her recovery, and now he stood at the clinic, a leash in hand, ready to take Bella and her puppies home. Sarah handed him the paperwork with a smile. "You're doing a wonderful thing, Adam. But remember, the journey doesn't end here. It's a big adjustment for them, and for you." Adam nodded, his eyes filled with determination. "I know, but I'm ready." Bella, sensing the change, watched as Adam crouched down to her level. He gently attached the leash to her new collar, his voice soft. "Ready to go home, girl? I've got a warm bed and a backyard waiting just for you." Her tail wagged, hesitantly, a flicker of trust in her eyes. The puppies tumbled around her feet, blissfully unaware of the world beyond the clinic walls. For Bella, the idea of a home was still foreign, but she was beginning to trust that Adam's presence meant safety. The car ride to Adam's house was quiet. Bella lay in the back seat with her puppies nestled against her, the hum of the engine lulling them into a sense of calm. Adam glanced at them in the rearview mirror, his heart swelling with a mix of pride and responsibility. When they arrived, Adam opened the door and let Bella out first. She stepped cautiously onto the driveway, her nose twitching as she took in the unfamiliar scents. Her puppies stumbled out after her, their tiny tails wagging as they explored the yard. "This is home now," Adam said, leading Bella to the front door. "It's not much, but it's ours." Inside, the house was modest, but warm, filled with soft rugs, cozy furniture, and a dog bed placed near the living room window. Adam had prepared everything with care, even setting up a small play area for the puppies. Bella sniffed every corner, her body still tense but her tail wagging faintly as she realized there were no threats here. That first night was a mix of triumph and challenge. The puppies explored their new surroundings with boundless energy, but Bella struggled to relax. Every sound, a creak in the floor, the hum of the heater, made her ears perk up, her instincts on high alert. Adam stayed close, sitting on the floor beside her, and speaking in a low, reassuring tone. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," he said, gently scratching behind her ears. "You're safe here." Bella leaned into his touch, her body gradually softening. For the first time, she allowed herself to lie down fully, her head resting on Adam's lap. The puppies, tired from their adventures, curled up beside her, their tiny snores filling the room. The next morning brought its own set of challenges. Bella's protective instincts flared as Adam introduced her to new routines, leash walks, feeding times, and interactions with neighbors. A man walking his dog on the sidewalk sent her into a defensive stance, her low growl making Adam tighten his grip on the leash. "It's okay, Bella," he said, kneeling beside her. "He's not going to hurt you." Her eyes darted between Adam and the stranger, her body trembling with uncertainty. It would take time for her to understand that not every situation was a threat. Adam remained patient, guiding her with steady reassurance. Back at home, Adam took time to play with the puppies, their joyful antics a reminder of how far they'd come. Bella watched from a distance at first, her maternal instincts keeping her cautious. But as Adam tossed a toy and the puppies tumbled after it, she found herself drawn into the moment. She joined the game, her tail wagging freely as she chased after her babies. Adam laughed, watching the transformation unfold. "That's it, girl," he said, his voice full of encouragement. "You're starting to trust, one step at a time." By the end of the day, Bella lay sprawled on the living room rug, her puppies asleep beside her. Adam sat on the couch, looking at the small family he had brought into his home. Bella lifted her head and looked at him, her eyes reflecting gratitude and something deeper, hope. "You're doing great," Adam said softly. "We're going to figure this out together." Bella's tail thumped against the rug, her silent agreement to the unspoken promise between them. The days turned into weeks, and Bella began to settle into her new life. Her puppies thrived, growing stronger and more curious with each passing day. The once frightened mother was transforming, her tail wagging more often, her eyes shining with a newfound confidence. Adam's patience and care were paying off, but he knew Bella's journey was far from over. One crisp morning, Adam decided it was time to take Bella and her puppies to the local park. It was quiet, with only a few people walking their dogs. Adam thought the open space would be good for Bella, to let her stretch her legs and experience the world outside her yard. The puppies, now playful and energetic, would also benefit from exploring beyond the safety of home. Bella, however, wasn't so sure. As Adam clipped the leash to her collar, her body tensed, her ears flat against her head. The puppies bounced around her paws, oblivious to her hesitation. Adam crouched down to meet her gaze. "You've got this," he said gently. "I'll be right here the whole time." At the park, Bella stayed close to Adam's side, her body low and cautious. The puppies, tethered to a smaller leash, bounded ahead, their excitement uncontainable. Adam kept a watchful eye, ensuring Bella didn't feel overwhelmed. But then, as they rounded a bend, a large dog barked loudly from across the field. Bella froze, her body stiffening as her eyes locked onto the source of the noise. Memories of the streets flooded her mind: territorial dogs, threats, and survival. She growled low in her throat, stepping in front of her puppies protectively. Adam knelt beside her, placing a hand on her back. "It's okay, Bella," he said softly. "You're safe. No one's going to hurt you." The owner of the barking dog waved apologetically, moving farther away to give Bella space. Adam stayed crouched, his calm presence grounding her. Slowly, her growls subsided, though her muscles remained tense. It was a small step, but Adam knew it was progress. Back at home, the puppies tumbled into their play area, blissfully unaware of the tension at the park. Bella, still unsettled, paced the living room, her ears twitching at every sound. Adam sat on the floor, his voice calm and steady. "You're still learning," he said, watching her movements. "And that's okay. We'll get through this together." Eventually, Bella approached him, her eyes searching his face for reassurance. He extended his hand, and she rested her head against it. In that moment, Adam realized how much trust she had already placed in him, and how much further they had to go. Later that evening, as the puppies curled up for the night, Adam sat by Bella's side. He stroked her fur gently, speaking to her in soft tones. "You're stronger than you think, Bella," he said. "I see it every day, and no matter how long it takes, I'll be here." Bella's eyes met his, and for the first time since they'd left the park, her body relaxed. She let out a deep sigh, her head resting on his lap. The road ahead was uncertain, but for Bella, having someone to walk it with made all the difference. The morning sunlight streamed through the living room window, casting a golden glow over Bella and her puppies as they played on the rug. Adam watched from the kitchen, a cup of coffee in his hand and a quiet smile on his face. The house, once silent and unassuming, now felt alive with the sounds of barks, squeaks from chew toys, and the occasional crash as the puppies toppled over each other in their endless curiosity. Bella had come a long way. She no longer flinched at every noise, and her tail wagged more often than not. But there were still moments when fear crept back in, shadows from her past that lingered despite her progress. Adam knew trust wasn't built overnight, and he was ready to continue proving to Bella that she was safe. That afternoon, Adam decided it was time for a new challenge. He loaded Bella and the puppies into his truck and drove to a quiet hiking trail outside the city. The trail wound through a dense forest, its towering trees offering shade and a sense of calm. Adam hoped the serene environment would help Bella feel more at ease. As they began the hike, Bella stayed close to Adam, her eyes scanning the surroundings with cautious curiosity. The puppies, tethered to a smaller leash, darted around excitedly, their noses buried in leaves and their tails wagging furiously. "You're doing great, Bella," Adam said, his voice steady and encouraging. "Just take it one step at a time." The first half of the trail was uneventful, and Bella seemed to relax as they walked deeper into the forest. The sounds of birdsong and rustling leaves replaced the hum of traffic and city life, and for a moment it felt like they were in their own little world. But as they rounded a bend, a sudden noise shattered the tranquility. A sharp crack echoed through the trees, likely a branch falling, but to Bella it was a threat. She froze, her body stiffening as her eyes darted toward the source of the sound. The puppies, startled, huddled close to her, their playful energy replaced by confusion. Adam knelt beside Bella, his hand resting gently on her back. "It's okay," he said softly, his tone calm but firm. "It's just a branch. You're safe." Bella's breathing was quick and shallow, her mind racing with memories of danger and survival. But Adam's presence grounded her. She looked at him, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to her fear. Slowly, she took a step forward, then another, her muscles beginning to relax. "That's my girl," Adam said, his smile returning. "You're brave. You've got this." The rest of the hike passed without incident, and by the time they returned to the truck, Bella seemed more at ease. The puppies, exhausted from their adventure, collapsed into a pile in the back seat, their tiny snores filling the cab. Bella lay beside them, her head resting on Adam's jacket. For the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't known was possible. Back at home, Adam prepared dinner while Bella and the puppies settled into their favorite spot in the living room. The quiet hum of domestic life felt like a far cry from the chaos of Bella's past. Adam glanced over at her, his heart swelling with pride. "You've come so far," he said, kneeling down to scratch behind her ears. "And we're just getting started." Bella leaned into his touch, her eyes soft and full of trust. The bond between them had been forged in adversity, strengthened by patience and love. She no longer felt like a survivor. She felt like she belonged. Later that evening, as the house grew quiet, Bella watched Adam from her spot on the rug. He was seated on the couch, reading a book, his presence steady and reassuring. The puppies were fast asleep, their small bodies rising and falling with each breath. Bella rose to her feet and walked over to Adam, her movements slow and deliberate. She rested her head on his knee, her eyes meeting his. It was a gesture of gratitude, a silent acknowledgement of everything he had done for her. Adam smiled, placing a hand on her head. "I'm proud of you, Bella," he said. "You're safe now, and you'll never be alone again." The early morning sunlight streamed through the windows of Adam's modest home, filling the room with a golden warmth. Bella stretched on the living room rug, her puppies sprawled in a sleepy pile beside her. The once scared and starving dog was now a picture of health and serenity, her coat glossy, her body strong, and her eyes clear. Adam had kept his promise. She was safe, and for the first time in her life, Bella felt truly at home. Over the past few months, Bella's transformation had been nothing short of remarkable. The trust she placed in Adam had grown with every walk, every shared meal, and every quiet moment where he simply sat beside her, letting her know she wasn't alone. Her puppies, now old enough to run on their own tiny legs, had become the joy of the neighborhood. Children adored their playful antics, and even the most wary neighbors couldn't resist their charm. But the journey hadn't been without its challenges. Bella's protective instincts remained strong, especially when strangers approached her puppies. During one trip to the park, a curious child had wandered over, reaching out to pet one of the pups. Bella had stepped in front of them, her growl low but unmistakable. Adam had quickly stepped in, crouching beside her. "Hey, it's okay," he had said, his voice calm. "They're not going to hurt you or the pups." The child's parent apologized, and Adam explained Bella's past. "She's learning," he had said with a smile. She just needs a little more time. It was a reminder that Bella's scars, both physical and emotional, might never fully heal. But Adam wasn't deterred. He knew her strength, her capacity to love, and her willingness to grow. He saw her not as a project, but as family. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves turned shades of orange and gold, Adam decided it was time for a new chapter in Bella's life. The puppies were old enough to be adopted, and though the thought of parting with them was bittersweet, Adam knew it was the right decision. He had carefully vetted families in the community, ensuring each pup would go to a loving home. The day of the adoptions arrived, and Bella watched as Adam prepared the puppies for their new lives. Each family arrived with excited smiles and wagging tails from their future companions. Adam knelt beside Bella, his hand resting on her back. "They're going to be okay," he said softly. "You've done an amazing job." Bella didn't understand every word, but she felt the comfort in his voice. She licked his hand, her way of saying she trusted him. One by one, the puppies left with their new families, their tiny barks echoing as they were carried away. By the end of the day, the house was quieter than it had been in weeks. Bella wandered the living room, sniffing the spots where her puppies had played. Her eyes searched the door, and for a moment Adam's heart ached for her. He knelt beside her, wrapping his arms around her. "They'll always be your babies," he said. "And now, you get to enjoy some peace." As the weeks passed, Bella adjusted to life without her puppies. She became more playful, running through the backyard with Adam, and even learning how to play fetch, a skill that had eluded her during her early days of recovery. Adam marveled at her resilience, her ability to embrace each new day with a wag of her tail and an eagerness to explore the world. One day, Adam decided it was time for another adventure. He loaded Bella into the truck and drove to a nearby lake. The sun shimmered off the water, and the crisp air carried the scent of pine trees. Bella stepped out of the truck, her nose twitching as she took in the new surroundings. She trotted ahead, her tail wagging as she explored the shoreline. Adam unpacked a picnic basket and settled on a blanket near the water. Bella lay beside him, her head resting on his lap as he stroked her fur. For a moment there was nothing but the sound of the waves and the rustling leaves. It was a quiet reminder of how far they had come together. "You've changed my life, you know," Adam said, his voice soft. "I thought I was rescuing you, but you've rescued me just as much." Bella looked up at him, her eyes filled with trust and love. She didn't need to understand his words to know their meaning. In her heart, she knew she had found her forever home. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Adam and Bella made their way back to the truck. She jumped into the passenger seat, her body relaxed, her spirit at peace. The drive home was quiet, the kind of silence that spoke volumes. When they arrived, Adam opened the door, and Bella bounded into the house, her energy infectious. Adam laughed as she grabbed her favorite toy, a soft, worn-out bone, and dropped it at his feet. "You want to play?" he asked, picking it up. Bella barked once, her tail wagging furiously. They played until the moon was high in the sky, the house filled with laughter and the sound of Bella's happy barks. When the night finally grew quiet, Bella curled up on the rug near Adam's feet. He watched her for a long moment, his heart full. "You're home, Bella," he said softly, "and you'll never have to fight alone again." Bella closed her eyes, her body relaxed, her heart full. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time, she knew it would be filled with love, warmth, and the unwavering bond she had found with Adam. Bella's journey is a testament to the unyielding spirit of survival and the transformative power of compassion. Her story began in the harshest of circumstances: a cold alley, 2 vulnerable puppies, and the weight of abandonment pressing down on her. For many, such a beginning would have marked the end, but Bella's instinct to protect and persevere refused to let go. She became a symbol of resilience, not just for her puppies. Her life with Adam unfolded in a series of quiet victories. From her first hesitant steps into trust to the deep bond she formed with him, Bella showed that healing isn't linear. It's messy, filled with moments of fear and doubt, but also with triumphs that often go unnoticed. Every wag of her tail, every time she let Adam. What makes Bella's story so profound is the reminder that small acts of kindness can create ripples that change lives. Adam's decision to stop in that alley, to extend a helping hand to a dog he didn't know, altered the course of her life, and his. In saving Bella, Adam found purpose, a connection that went beyond words. But Bella's story isn't just about survival. It's about transformation. It's about how love and care can rebuild even the most broken spirits. Her journey challenges us to look at ourselves and ask, how often do we stop to help? How often do we extend compassion, even when it's inconvenient or uncertain? Bella didn't choose to be abandoned or to fight for her life in the freezing cold, but Adam chose to see her worth, to fight for her when she couldn't fight for herself. Her story is also a reflection on trust, how fragile it can be, and yet how powerful it becomes when nurtured. Bella's cautious steps toward Adam were not just about accepting him, but about reclaiming a piece of herself that had been lost to neglect and hardship. Her trust in Adam mirrored the courage it takes for any of us to let someone in after being hurt. For the puppies, Bella's determination was the foundation of their survival. Her sacrifices and strength allowed them to thrive, reminding us of the power of maternal love. But beyond that, Bella's story also highlights the importance of community, of people like Adam and Sarah, who stepped up to provide a second chance when it was needed most. Bella's journey is a testament to the unyielding spirit of survival and the transformative power of compassion. Her story began in the harshest of circumstances, a cold alley, 2 vulnerable puppies, and the weight of abandonment pressing down on her. For many, such a beginning would have marked the end, but Bella's instinct to protect and persevere refused to let go. She became a symbol of resilience, not just for her puppies. Her life with Adam unfolded in a series of quiet victories. From her first hesitant steps into trust to the deep bond she formed with him, Bella showed that healing isn't linear. It's messy, filled with moments of fear and doubt, but also with triumphs that often go unnoticed. Every wag of her tail, every time she led Adam. What makes Bella's story so profound is the reminder that small acts of kindness can create ripples that change lives. Adam's decision to stop in that alley, to extend a helping hand to a dog he didn't know, altered the course of her life, and his. In saving Bella, Adam found purpose, a connection that went beyond words. But Bella's story isn't just about survival. It's about transformation. It's about how love and care can rebuild even the most broken spirits. Her journey challenges us to look at ourselves and ask, how often do we stop to help? How often do we extend compassion, even when it's inconvenient or uncertain? Bella didn't choose to be abandoned or to fight for her life in the freezing cold, but Adam chose to see her worth, to fight for her when she couldn't fight for herself. Her story is also a reflection on trust, how fragile it can be, and yet how powerful it becomes when nurtured. Bella's cautious steps toward Adam were not just about accepting him, but about reclaiming a piece of herself that had been lost to neglect and hardship. Her trust in Adam mirrored the courage it takes for any of us to let someone in after being hurt. For the puppies, Bella's determination was the foundation of their survival. Her sacrifices and strength allowed them to thrive, reminding us of the power of maternal love. But beyond that, Bella's story also highlights the importance of community, of people like Adam and Sarah, who stepped up to provide a second chance when it was needed most. If Bella's journey touched your heart, let it be the beginning of something bigger. Here's how you can stay involved. Subscribe to our channel. Be part of a community that celebrates stories of courage, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. Every new story is a chance to be inspired and take action. Leave a comment. What does Bella's story mean to you? How did it move you? We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you in the comments. Your voice matters, and your reflections could inspire others to take action. Share this story. Spread Bella's journey far and wide. Share this video with friends, family, and anyone who loves animals. Together, we can raise awareness and create more second chances for animals in need. Why your action matters. Bella's life changed because Adam chose to act. He didn't wait for someone else to step in. He became the hero she needed. Imagine what could happen if more people followed his example. Every small act of kindness, every effort to help, and every choice to care creates ripples that can transform lives. Whether it's adopting a dog, fostering a litter of kittens, or donating to a shelter, your actions have the power to change the world for animals like Bella. Bella's story is proof that hope can be found even in the coldest, most desperate moments. It reminds us that no creature is beyond saving, and no act of kindness is too small. You have the power to create stories like hers, to be the person who stops, who cares, and who makes a difference. Together, we can build a world where every animal knows love, warmth, and safety. Thank you for watching, for caring, and for being part of this journey. Let's continue to fight for animals like Bella, one story at a time.